Hey guys, Phaetox from Team Auxiliary here, and I'm going to be doing some solo queue jungle commentary for you guys. Last time Epicuden and I did our weekly podcast, there was some request for jungle commentary, route advice, pathing, itemization, stuff like that. General jungle advice. There seems to be a lot of consensus within the community that you guys want some jungle coaching. And we'll get into more detailed strategies and stuff like that in our next podcast because we're actually going to have a jungle segment for our next podcast. But until then, I wanted to give you guys some content to review, hopefully help you guys out a little bit. This was a solo queue game of mine, so everyone in this game is Diamond and Plat. There were some silly things that happened in this game, but I didn't want to not use this because of that. Like, it's still a good example because silly things happen in solo queue. It's just like you can't avoid it. Especially under anything under like Diamond 2 solo queue is pretty ridiculous as far as trying to get your team to work together and enemies doing random things and so they have like support brand, Kale Jungle, Zed Top, not the most meta picks. But, Plat solo queue, what are you gonna do about it? You got trolls, you got people playing what they want to play, you got people being silly. It's just a matter of fact. Can't do anything about it. So, anywho, going on to the video. Let me make sure I'm locked onto my channel. There we go. Alright, so I plan on starting red and working my way up to blue and then ganking either top or mid because Ziggs and Zed, I don't want them to snowball against my solo laners. J4 and Nivea are both really good when they're snowballing and really bad when they're getting snowballed against. So what I do, knowing that I'm going to start red, is I work my way up here. And I sit around here and I stall until I have my trinket up. But I don't want to use it yet because I want to put my trinket here and have it last long enough to give vision of whether or not they invade my blue while I'm at my red doing my red. So I wait until like about 53 seconds or so. And then that way this lasts for 60 seconds and this will expire like right as my blue spawning. So it I should have waited a little bit longer, maybe until like 56, 57 seconds and then dropped it there so that it's there a couple of seconds after my blue spawns and then expires. But my bot lane wasn't guarding the entrances to my red, and I didn't want to let them get in before I got there. That would have been really bad. Ideally, what you would have is you would have your jungle. If you want to start red, you would have your jungler put their trinket here, and you would have your top laner either be sitting here to guard to get vision of the top entrance, or just be sitting here. Generally, this isn't as good as here though because they can sit here. And then when minions are going in their lane, they'll usually cut this way. And then if they're doing a topside invade, they'll all group right here. And then they'll wait until like your top laner would already be leaving here and they'll come in. And then you won't know that they invaded. So generally you either have your top laner stand right here. And then as soon as his minions just get in the lane, he just walks up. Or he can just come up here and ward with his trinket right over this wall into right here and have his trinket ward there. Which is great because then he can't get caught and die here if they come, and he still gets vision. So like, ideally your top laner would trinket ward right there, and then your jungle would trinket ward there, so you have vision into your both sides of your jungle that they can get into while you do your red, so you know 100% for sure whether or not they're stealing your other buff or not. This can work the opposite way. If you're over here and you start blue, you would have... Generally, you would either trinket ward this, and then have your top laner stand here, trinket ward that, and then that covers both entrances into your red jungle. So you can do this regardless of which team you are or which buff you're starting on. That's just how I tried to apply it this game. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't convince my Jarvan to do anything but sit at his tower. So, not ideal here, but it was still worth placing because it's still like a 50% chance that it would catch the invade. So even if your teammates don't cooperate, don't abandon your strategy. Still try to stick to it. Convince them over time that you know what you're doing and to get them to work with you. So I'll go ahead and resume though, and we'll move on.
Minions have spawned.
And ideally, you know, my bot jungle or my bot lane would like be sitting here waiting for my red to spawn. They would be helping defend invades, either have a trinket here or have one standing there. Now normally you don't need the ADC to help you leash, so the ADC can stand here and like watch for the invade, and your support, and you can like stand here, and then the support can help you do the red, and then that way your ADC like sits here for vision, but then gets to lane because he's closer to lane rather than your ADC be guarding here or helping you. Your ADC stays here so that they can get to lane and get to the minion wave on time. I mean, I think he actually gets there before any minion dies anyways, but so it doesn't really matter. But if their bot lane if their bot lane hadn't been here, like if Kayle had started red, or Kayle had to start blue, but if this was a different jungler and they were starting red instead of blue, then their bot lane would have been here, and their bot lane probably would have pushed or like stopped their pathed in front of their minions to like make this a little further and freeze it right here, and then Lucian would have missed a minion or possibly two, but usually only one, which still delays his level 2 by like 2 minions. Because you hit level 2 off of the 7th minion, so you clear the first wave, and then the first minion from the second wave that dies hits you 2. And if he misses that first minion, Kate's and Brand would hit 2 before him, and then that would be bad for my bot lane. So, but anywho, jungle commentary, not bot lane commentary, getting back on track. So, my plan here was, rather than going red to blue, I was pretty sure they didn't invade my blue because I had that ward there. So I stopped to get wraiths so that I ding 3 off of blue and can go straight top rather than having to go get blue, still be 2, and then come down for wolves, hit 3, and then have farther to run. I did a camp on the way so that I didn't have to turn back and further because I wanted to go level 3 top. And Kayle and I would have got there at the same time. Unfortunately, J4 and Zed get into an early skirmish and they 1v1 each other before either jungler gets there, so that kind of changed my plan for the route. And the most important thing while jungling is to, number 1, have a plan of what you're gonna do, and then number 2, have a backup plan. So like, it's really like, nothing's ever gonna go exactly according to plan. You always want to be able to adapt on the fly and change what you're doing. This is the silly part that I was talking about earlier, how silly things happen in solo queue. Because our top lane is 1v1'd and they died, Kayle was like, okay, Lee has no reason to be in his top jungle because top lane died, so he is rotating back towards his bottom jungle to clear in here and then be able to gank between the 2 lanes that are alive. So he didn't expect me to be at wolves. He thought I had, what he probably predicted was that I didn't do wraiths and that I was doing, or that I don't know what he was predicting, but probably that I was red-blue and then rotated once top lane died back into my bot jungle. And then, so he was coming in to counter jungle my wolves, assuming that I had either done them earlier, like done red, wolves, blue, and then they'd be back up and then I had gone to wraiths, or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what he was thinking. But so he comes in to counter jungle my wolves, and obviously this is not going to work out for him, because you generally don't want to invade Lee Sin unless you're like someone with a lot of early damage like Kha'Zix or Elise, and you're lurking. Like if I was a red team Lee Sin and I had done my blue and gone to my red and was doing my red, Elise or Kha'Zix could like lurk in this bush and wait for me to tank the aggro and get kind of low health, and then they'd come in, they'd steal it from me so that I didn't ding 2 off of it, and I'd still be low, or so that I didn't ding 3 in case I had cleared a little, and then they'd ding 3 off of it, and they would have a level advantage on me. I'd be lower health because I was tanking it, and then they could be able to kill me. But other than like that very small situation, you don't want to invade a Lee Sin early game, and so Kayle does. She probably wasn't looking to fight me. I think she just wanted to counter jungle, and obviously it does not work out for her. I know that she's gonna flash, so I hold the Q. She could have waited a little longer, and then like forced. If she had just waited, she would have forced me to Q early, and then I would have had to use my flash to follow her. But and then I actually flashed right here because I was so worried about Anivia dying. That was a little glitchy. So like right here, I land the Q, and I think she thought she wanted to wait until I Q'd and then flashed away from me. But I think she thought I was just gonna auto attack her to death and get the kill anyway, so she went ahead and flashed, hoping she would get out of range of my Q. But I followed her with the Q. Now, if she had done that and like forced my Q before she flashed, I would have still followed up with the flash and still killed her. So it doesn't really matter. But you know, maybe it's still a good habit to practice. Maybe if like I didn't have flash, she could have lived. But now here, I was so worried about Anivia because her egg's already down and she's like one shot. So I had gone in. I had flashed to try to get in range to kill Ziggs before Ziggs killed Anivia, but luckily Anivia got the kill. Well, she got the kill before I even went in, so that was unfortunate for me. I didn't get the assist, and I blew a summoner, so a little pointless right there. So that was a little silly of me. And what I'm doing right here is I'm not taking CS. Anivia's low health, and Ziggs just died. So whenever your lane opponent dies, you want to shove the minion wave under their towers so that they miss farm, and so that one, they miss this first wave of farm because it dies to the tower, and two, the next wave that comes will be pushed because you've pushed it, and it'll probably like be right here, and then that way you have time after you've pushed this wave. The mid laner has time to go back, heal, buy, and get back to lane before the enemy pushes the minion wave back under your tower and makes you miss CS. So what I wanted to do here is help her push because she's low health. I don't want to. I don't want her to push alone because I don't want anyone to like show up and come kill her. Kale's still dead, so like that's not the primary concern here, but just in general, if I hadn't killed Kale and their jungler was alive, this would be important to make sure that Anivia safely pushes and you're like protecting her, or just your mid lane in general, whether it's Anivia or not. But so, and then number two reason is because you want to deny the farm. And Anivia pre-6 can't push the wave fast enough to accomplish that in a timely manner. Like, she could push it, but then, like, the lane would reset right here rather than be right here, and she would miss CS on the next wave that gets pushed onto her tower before she gets back to lane. So, that's a little... So what I'm trying to do right here is, like... I mean, I take that minion, and then I start trying to set her up last hits. Like, I'm not taking any of these minions, I'm just getting them low, but she doesn't realize I'm trying to do that and uses random abilities on random minions rather than like, because she's worried that I'm trying to take the farm, so she's like desperately throwing abilities, and like, so she ends up missing like most of those minions because she didn't understand what I was doing and she thought I was trying to take farm. So she back ping spams me because she's like, oh my god, don't take my farm. So I'm just like, okay, my bad, whatever, you don't, like, rather than being like explaining to her what I was doing and like getting mad at her for not realizing, and like, don't get mad at people for getting mad at you, like, it just means that they don't understand what you're trying to do. And like, because this game doesn't have voice communication, typing takes too long, so I'm not going to sit here and waste my time typing an explanation. I'm just gonna be like, okay, sorry, you know, like, I don't want to make my teammates mad, so I just quickly apologize and continue my jungle clear. So no big deal, I'm not gonna. And then right here I come in, I know that I can't get a kill, so rather than like delaying and lurking right here, I just go straight in, because my primary objective right here is to help Lucian stop getting zoned, to reset the wave, and to protect him while he gets a little bit of free farm, because right now he's 8 to 22, so like, he's getting wrecked in farm, and Kate, their bot lane had a level advantage, Lucian was still 2, so I just came straight in, tried to show that like, hey, you know, I'm the jungler, I'm here, I exist, be afraid of me, I might come back in a little bit later. So, you know, just be aware of my existence, and hopefully that helps them play a little more passive and relieves pressure off of my bot lane. It also helps Lucian get a couple last hits safely. And now they have the large wave in their favor, so he can farm safely, because Caitlyn will come into harass, because then she'll pull a lot of minion aggro. So, and then I cut mid to cover because Anivia beat late because she was being silly. She like overstayed after she pushed and like didn't beat right away, so she missed a lot of farm. but it went to me, so no big deal. And then I come in. Now normally, when you jungle, you would... I haven't backed yet. Normally you would back a lot earlier than this, but because Kayle came in and practically suicided to me here, she refreshed my double buffs, which allowed me to stay on the map without backing, because 1, I clear faster with double buffs, and 2, I had started red, so my red would have fallen off really early, but she started blue and got red second, so the duration of her red was fairly new before she handed it off to me, and then, so I got a refresh on my red, like, probably right as it was about to expire. So now I have, like, it's basically like I have 2 whole red buffs, so, like, that keeps my gank pressure and opportunity up, because red buff helps you gank. So because I had that for so long, I stayed and hadn't backed in a long time. So right here, I dinged 6 at 5 minutes. My mid lane is 4, both top laners are 4, bot lanes are level 3, level 3, level 3, level 4. So, like, I'm way over leveled this game. I have the most farm other than Caitlyn from covering mid when Anivia backed, and from killing Kayle and refreshing my doubles and just staying on the map without, like, Kayle's backed once, so that's why she's behind, and of course she died to me, so I have 2 levels on their jungler. So knowing that I'm ahead, and I'm 6 now, I'm low health here, so I don't want to come in and make an immediate play with my ulti, because I don't want to die from being low health. So I go back and get a little bit of power, Spirit Stone for sustain, double longsword, because I know I'm going to gank. I'm not too worried about rushing boots. A lot of people used to rush Moby boots only, and I have done that a lot in the past, but I didn't feel the need to do that this game, because my positioning and prediction of where Kayle is, it has been relatively good this game. Or it will be good. I haven't shown a lot of that so far in this game, but so here I'm on the way to come top, and rather than coming through this river, now Zed is a coincidence, he didn't have any wards here, so I could have done that, but I don't know that he didn't have any wards, so what I was planning to do was cut around through their jungle, because I know I have 2 levels on Kayle. So I can cut through their jungle to gank a lane safely, because if I run into her, then that's great for me, because I have 2 levels and I can kill her. So whether I run into her or not, it's a win-win. I either run into her and 1v1 her, or I run in through here, I don't run into her, she doesn't see me, and then I lurk up and get an easy gank on top. Now unfortunately, Kayle beats me here. She beats me to top lane. And we'll watch as soon as Kayle shows up on my minimap, as soon as she gets in range for Jarvan to see her, I immediately realize it and change my plan. Because as soon as I see that, I know she got the jump on me, and I'm not going to get there in time to properly counter gank. J4 is either hit. I don't know if his flash is up or not. I see now that his flash is not up, but when this game was live and I was playing in it, I didn't know what his cooldowns were, so I was hoping that he would either A, lance out and, like, flash combo to, like, safely escape the gank, or B, I knew he was gonna die, and me still heading top wouldn't have changed that. So as soon as I realized that I can't have an impact in top lane, I change my plan, I adapt. So I immediately turn back around and come gank middle, because Ziggs is over... He's not... he's a little overextended, but he doesn't realize how threatening I am right now and the fact that I'm coming in behind him. I was going to ward jump right here and kick him this way, but because Anivia knew that I was coming in the gank, so rather than just playing, like, she telegraphed that Ziggs was getting ganked really hard, because she started pressing in as soon as I was on the way. Like, as soon as I was here and then turned this way, she immediately started pressing. So that was bad on her part. You don't want to telegraph that a gank is incoming, because that gives the enemy more time to escape. If she had just like played normal and not telegraphed, I would have been able to ward jump here and really kick him really far out, and he would have probably... But then he probably would have just accepted his fate that he was going to die and not use his summoners, whereas here he ended up using his summoners, so I mean, you know. So that's why I had warded, but then when I realized that she had pressed him, I just went ahead and kicked him right away. And what I do right there, I need to see if I can just rewind it just a little bit. 612. Alright, so what I do right here is I see that the spike's mid-air, so instead of like letting the spike hit and then going in and KSing, I see that the spike's mid-air, I see that the spike doesn't quite have enough damage to kill him, so I go in and put my damage right before the ice pick lands so that Anivia gets the kill. Because, like I said, I want my solo lanes to snowball. Early kills are great on Lee Sin, and I already got one on their jungler, so I'm already ahead of their jungler. And I know that Ziggs, Kayle, Caitlyn, Brynn, like, that's a lot of wave clear. So this game is not going to end really quickly, because even if we snowball all of our lanes, they should have enough wave clear to hold the game out till, like, at least, like, the 26 to 30 minute mark, rather than, like, an instant 18 to 22 minute stomp. So I know that eventually this game will get to the point to where I will probably start falling off because I'm Lee Sin. So I'm not looking to KS my laners, I want to give them the kills. So I go in and get the damage off right before the Frostbite ice pick. Frostbite, I was right, okay. Procs. So that's good. Back to full speed. So I was planning to gank top. Jarvan did live, he got out, so that's good. And I changed my plan and got a kill mid. So adapting is really important, and it's really like split-second decisions. You can't like stutter step and waste 5 seconds trying to decide what you should do. You have to get to where it's like a natural change. So I come in here, and I know that Kayle has already tried the gank top, so she's not in the vicinity. She tried it, gave pressure, and then rotated back out. So I can come top and safely pressure the top lane without worrying about a counter gank. So what I did right there is, even though I knew we couldn't get the kill, I still threw the Q and forced his flash, so I blew the summoner. And that pays off in a little bit. I stick around. I thought for some reason Golems was up, because I don't know why Kayle... I guess she did Golems after she got out of top lane, so that makes sense. But normally junglers don't tend to do their Golems, so they're easy to counter jungle. So here, Zed actually got the kill on Jarvan because Jarvan was being stupid. And then, because Zed hit 6 first and Jarvan didn't back up. So, but he already flashed, so this is a free kill for me, because I'm like, oh, I already blew his flash, and I guess he thought, because he didn't have any wards up, so he thought after I got that gank, I cut into river, like, he didn't see me cut this way, I cut into river, and then went this way, so he probably thought that I left and was in, like, doing my wolves or something. So he was probably going to try to push the wave to where the wave got under the tower, like I was talking about earlier, to deny farm, and then he was going to back, but it backfired for him because I was still in the vicinity, because he knew his golems weren't up, so he didn't think I would be going into the jungle to counter jungle or anything, because he knew nothing was up. However, I didn't know that because I didn't realize Kayle took golems, so I was lurking trying to counter jungle golems, and then that gave me the opportunity to come back in on him. So I didn't find anything in the counter jungle, but because I stuck around, I got a kill. Now, unfortunately, so what I do right here is I'm already top, and I see that my red had spawned. So, and I know that even if I B now, I can't get to my red in time. I know Kayle's going to take my red. So, and I can either go take her red and risk, because I know Zed's on the way back, and risk Zed running into me and Ziggs collapsing, and like that's kind of a risky play. Or I can just get a lot of damage on the top tower and deny Zed farm by pushing the wave under the tower. So, like, Jarvan was already dead, and he doesn't have teleport. Normally, if your top laners are running teleport, you don't want to, like, deny them farm because they're just going to tele back in, and like they're not going to miss anything. But because he's running Ignite, I know that he was going to miss out farm, and like these minions were going to die whether I was here or not. Like, not these minions specifically, but like the last wave that was here. So I go ahead and soak up the XP, because why let it go to waste, right? So I soak up the XP and get damage on the tower, because right now I've switched modes. I've switched modes from like ganking to wanting to end laning phase, because there's a couple of things I realized. One, I know my Anivia's ahead. She's up in farm, and I've gotten her 2 kills. 2, J4 is he's not doing so hot. He's pretty much half farm of Zed, and Zed has killed him 3 times. So like, my top lane's not going well, and my bot lane's not going well because Lucian's under farm. Now luckily, my bot lane isn't dying, so because this lane, like Kate Brand has a lot of poke, and they're really annoying, I know, and these guys haven't died yet, so even though he's under in farm, I know that he's not, like, terrible, because they're not feeding, even though they're losing the lane, like, they're playing safe and surviving. So I know that if I can get my bot lane out of this situation, that they'll start snowballing and doing better. Like, they'll probably do a lot better in skirmishes than they're doing in this annoying lane right now. And so my objective is to end for one, end top laning phase so that Zed's more likely to farm jungle or roam, and that will free up Jarvan to come back into this game. Or it will convince Jarvan to be like, oh, we got my tower, let me leave and come roam, and then J4 is a really impactful roamer, because, like, he's under-leveled and he's under-farmed, but, like, he still has 2 kills, so that kind of helps him, and his ult, whether he has damage or not, can still make a huge difference, because a lot of people on their team aren't that good at getting out of it. Like, if Ziggs doesn't have Satchel or Flash Up, and he shouldn't, because Anivia's pressing him a lot, so it should be easy for J4 to come in on the roam. I mean, that's not what happens this game, this is just what was going through my mind at the time. So my goal is to, one, I want to break top lane. Top lane is a lot easier to break out of laning phase than bot lane is, because there's less people involved and there's less factors involved. So I stick around. Zed does make it back in time to get the XP from this wave, but we get a lot of damage on the tower. This tower is super low, so even though losing lane, we've gotten their tower down to like 400 health, and ours is full health. So that's great. Whenever your lane is losing and they can get the tower first, it's good. Now, I knew that I forfeited my red for that play, and unfortunately, Kale did a really good job of realizing how long I was staying top, and they capitalized by doing dragon. Because my bot lane beat. So Lucian beat here, which let their bot lane roam out of bot to dragon. I wasn't planning on my bot lane backing there, unfortunately. I thought they would stay and keep pressing, and then Anivia would, because I knew Anivia was stronger than Ziggs, I didn't think they'd go for the drag, but as soon as Lucian beat, I realized that we had given up drag. But I know that I'm still ahead, I know that Anivia is still ahead, and I can keep impacting the game to make us losing dragon not a big deal. So I know my red's counter jungle, and but so I just come down to clear my red, because I figured she counter jungle it, and I don't want my red to be down for like another 10 minutes, so I go in, counter jungle it, I head to my blue, and blue off to Anivia. Now normally, you don't want to like force your mid laner to choose between mid farm and blue. What you want to do is like, and it's not so much the job of the jungle, it's more so the job of the mid, and like I'm a mid main, so I'm not like blaming her, like this is legit what you should be doing. If you know that you're going to be needing to go get blue, you want to push or reset the lane so that you don't miss any farm while you go get blue, and then you can come help and damage blue, and you guys can secure the blue faster, rather, because it's really dangerous for a jungle to like get a blue low health and then like sit waiting for you to cut over and come get it, because someone could be over the wall and steal it with like a smite steal, Ziggs could throw ult, you know, stuff like that. So normally he would push and come over, but him not doing that actually gets a really lucky thing right here, because I get it low, and because Anivia took so long to come over, Ziggs thinks, okay, Anivia's heading there, I have X amount of time before the blue's low enough health for me to steal with ulti. So he miscalculates and throws ult really late, and we get a free Ziggs ult and with no risk involved. So that's good. And we got Anivia blue buff, so it didn't work out too terribly, and I obviously didn't get low health. A lot of junglers can get really low health if they sit and take the buff, just because either some junglers are tankier than others, some have shield abilities, some don't. Lee Sin and Elise are generally good jungles to like hold blues, because Elise can tank with her little spiderlings, and Lee Sin can put his shield up, and then Lee Sin's also really good at like vamping back up from the jungle, especially now that I already have Spirit of the Elder Lizard, plus the lifesteal I get from Iron Will and the spell vamp. So like Lee Sin it's not a big problem for that, but it's also a big reason why you want to still run armor runes, because everyone switched to health runes for seals, for yellows, but junglers, you should still run flat armor, because you have to tank a lot of damage. Jungle creeps do a lot of damage, so in the interest of staying high health in the jungle, you want to do that. Now, anywho, moving on, so I come up here, and my trinket's up. Last time I came top, I don't think my trinket was up. Whenever you're Lee Sin, this is a really good entrance to top lane. It's just coming over here and just immediately ward jumping, because if Zed has a ward here, and I run up river, he gets like an extra 3 seconds of warning time before I get in on him. Now if I come here, even if he has a ward here, if I immediately ward jump, he doesn't get that this extra area of vision, because if he had a ward here, he would have vision for like right here and would see me right here. So right here, I get like right here rather than right here as soon as he has vision on me. So that's like 2, maybe 3 seconds of extra time of him not being able to run away. So I come in, and the reason I paused right there is I wanted, because I've actually, in Plat solo queue, there's been a lot of people who will actually, when you're playing Lee Sin or any jungle that like ward jumps, like Jarvan, Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, a couple other people who will either ward jump or have some way of getting over this wall, they'll put a ward right here, and then, or they'll like put a trinket ward right here when they have like, because most people in high elo will keep timers and keep track of the jungler, so they don't know when you're ganking, but they know which side of the jungle you're always in, unless you have like some really weird like route, or if you're a Feral Flare jungler doing the figure eight or something like that, then it's hard to keep track. But so a lot of people have actually been doing like a trinket here when they know that you're in the top jungle, and then they'll keep like a regular ward either like down here or like up here for like to cover their flank, or just like right here and they'll ward both or something like that. Just because that extra time is so important. So I paused right here to see that if when I walked up to the wall, if he immediately reacted to my presence, or if he like saw me coming out of try and he had a ward in the try to prevent me lane ganking top, then like I wanted to make sure that, because I didn't want to ward jump and not get anything out of it, because I don't like wasting my trinkets for nothing. So I paused there for a second and he didn't react, so then I went ahead and went over. So now I'm coming in on him, and I think J4 actually dies. No. So right here what I do is, I know Zed still has ult. So rather than like saving my Q and trying to get the kill on him after he ults, I want to make sure that I blow his ult inside of J4 ult. So like J4 has this wall up, right? And I don't want Zed to have any form of shadowing out of it and escaping this gank. So I go ahead and go in and make him ult, because he has to ult to dodge my Q damage. So I blow his ult, so that's one shadow that I know he can't use, and I already saw him use the other shadow. So I know now he has no way of getting out of J4 ult, and it's a free kill. So even though he lands, we just immediately kill him. And then, so I'm already 3-0-1. So I'm, doing pretty well this game. I go back to jungling because even though like you're Lee Sin and like other gank heavy junglers, it's really important, apply a lot of pressure and gank a lot. It's still really important that you keep farming. You don't want to get under level just from roaming around the map and not clearing anything. Lee and Eve and Elise and all those junglers, like they clear really fast. Like there's no point in not clearing. So right here, this was actually a really good play on Anivia. When I went top and got the kill, and Anivia roamed teleport ganked bottom, which is great. I love mids that run teleport in solo queue because they can apply so much map pressure. So Anivia had telegank down here, and me coming from top, I made my way mid, knowing that Anivia had left mid, so that A, I could soak up the experience here, and B, so that I could push the lane, because I knew Ziggs would probably step out of lane to either throw an ult or counter roam or something like that. So now I've come mid, Ziggs is on the way down. My bot lane has already gotten 1 kill, and this Kate's, she's dead, Reno. She's dead. She's not. So Ziggs is roaming for nothing right here. Ziggs is roaming just because he saw Anivia roam, and he doesn't want to sit mid and then have his bot lane, complain and nag him for being like, oh, Anivia roamed, why didn't you counter roam or throw ult or blah blah blah. So he's like, okay, well, I need to make my way just to make my teammates happy, and so that they can't blame me, so that they can't say I didn't come because I'm like, oh look, I did come. But honestly, he wasted his time right here. He's not getting anything off of coming. So when he could have been pressing the mid tower. Now, so I've come in, I'm soaking up XP, I'm wave clearing, I see that Ziggs left lane, so I start to hard push mid, because like I said earlier, my objective right now is to break the laning phases. I want to, Anivia is strong, she's already looking for teleport ganks and roaming, so I want to open up her opportunities for roaming by getting this mid tower, and so that my bot lane can start having skirmishes. And like Anivia roaming down is great, and my bot lane picks up some assists off of it. They both get 1 assist right there. Now Ziggs does get something off of this. I think he gets 1 kill. I'm not sure. Oh no, he actually didn't. He didn't get the Lucian kill.
Rampage.
I think Lucian... No? Okay, so Ziggs got nothing. Ziggs went down just to like make his teammates happy and be like, oh look guys, I'm trying to counter roam, and he got nothing and he died. And this whole time that he, rather than sitting mid and preventing me from pushing the lane while my mid roamed, now I'm pushing mid. And now Anivia comes back mid to help me on the tower as well. So, like, and Ziggs could have had more options here if I hadn't rotated mid. Me, after we got the gank top lane, me rotating mid was really good because it forced Ziggs between a rock and a hard place. Because he could either roam and try to help and maybe salvage something bot lane after his bot lane had died, or he could press mid tower. But because I came mid, he knew that he couldn't really press this tower because I was here to cover. He could have harassed me and gotten me low while I was wave clearing under the tower, and then forced me to back, which would have delayed me being able to pressure the map anytime soon, and Zed could have made a play, or they could have pressed in and counter jungle, or done something like that. But he chose to go out of lane, and then I push mid. So if he leaves lane, I push mid. If he stays lane, his bot lane gets mad at him for not roaming because Anivia roamed. And you know in solo queue, if one person from a lane roams and the other doesn't, their team rages at that person who didn't follow the roam. So he didn't really have a good choice to make here. So we actually get tower, and now I take free damage from Kale, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to probably be or heal up from jungling in my jungle because I got low health, but I'm willing to make that trade because I want this tower down. I don't want to delay it anymore, and we actually get Kale's flash out of here. So Anivia lands a good stun. We get the Kale ult, and then I realize I'm low health, and right as she flashes, I jump to the minion and I bait her away. Now, this sucks, but so we got Kale's ult and flash, and we got the mid tower, so that's great. Now here, Jarvan had been pushing top, right? So Jarvan was pushing, and I thought I was safe because I figured Zed knows his tower is low. He knows Jarvan is pushing, so I thought Zed would come back and defend and hold his lane. However, Zed cares more about kills than objectives this game, which, I die here because of that, but it helps us in the long run. So Zed gets the kill on me because, he just comes out of nowhere and lurks up and kills me. But this whole time that Zed stays mid, J4 continues to push top. He knows that, he didn't know Zed wasn't going to come top. So, it's not his fault for not roaming as well, because, Zed, we didn't have any vision in here. So we didn't know that Zed was mid rather than going top to defend until I died right there. And as soon as I died, he was like, okay, Lee's already dead. I don't have teleport. It's a long way to run from top to mid. I can't make a difference. I can't make an impact if I try to come. So rather than wasting time, he's just going to push mid. Or not mid, I'm sorry, top. So that's good on his part. And then Anivia gets egged. She manages to get under tower, luckily, before they egg her, which is what saves her right here. Because Zed takes a lot of tower damage, Kale takes a lot of tower damage. Ziggs wastes his ult thinking that they were going to go for the egg under tower, not realizing neither of them had enough health to tank the tower aggro. So they get Anivia's egg, but we get the Ziggs ult, and Kale and Zed get low and can't pressure anything. And Jarvan gets top because Zed was mid and wasting his time trying to get the egg. So J4 gets top, and we just got mid. So my objective right here has been successful. We've broken laning phase pretty much. I think J4 dies here. Not quite getting the kill on Zed. That was really greedy of him. This J4 made life a little difficult this game. I guess I don't want to call him a feeder, but on our team he was, the person dying the most, and he was the one who made us take a long time to close out this game. But that's okay. We won, so no harm, no foul. You're always going to have people in solo queue who are a little difficult to deal with. Either they do what they want to do rather than what you want them to do, or they're just doing silly things like building full damage on top lane bruisers, or, just something that hinders your team. But you can still work around it. You just have to realize where the weaknesses in your team are and accommodate that. So I come bot lane, and because the lane wasn't quite positioned for me to gank, I had gone and cleared golems, because rather than just wait here for the lane, I have a camp to clear. if I have time to clear and keep my XP levels raising and keep farming, then you should utilize that time. So now I come in. I missed the Q, which is really bad, but he dodged down to stun Lulu, which pretty much killed him. So, like, he probably would have been better if I had landed the Q and he hadn't gotten in range to get, like, polymorphed and slowed and stuff. So we get a free kill. Here, I'm looking to, like, again, you know, I'm trying to set up last hits for Lucian rather than actually take last hits, because I want to push the lane. Now, Ziggs shows up and I realize, okay, their big wave clears here, we can't get the tower. So as soon as he comes in, I change my plan. Rather than trying to siege this tower, because like once we got up to it and I saw it was full health, I was like, oh, my bot lane has not touched this tower and Ziggs is here. So like there's no way that like we could have just sat there and got the tower while Ziggs was wave clearing, so, and Kate was poking. So rather than trying to get the tower and getting poked down, and I immediately go in and make a play on the Caitlyn. So I'll jump back a little bit so we can see that again. So we push. I'm looking to get the tower. I see Ziggs. As soon as I see Ziggs, I'm in slow mode, so my reaction looks cool. So I change my mind. I say, okay, Ziggs is here. We can't press the tower, but I can kill Caitlyn and get out clean. So I adapt. I get the kill onto Caitlyn. I flash out. I could have flashed a little earlier and dropped the first tower hit. I was planning to jump to Lulu, but Lulu took too long to come up, and I knew Kayle was on the way to collapse, so I just went ahead and ward. I should have used my trinket ward for that ward jump, because that's not a good ward to place. Like, you would want one here, or like one here, you know, like one right here. So that was me wasting a ward, so that was bad. I should have used my trinket ward, but it was, in the heat of the moment, I was low health. I was concerned whether Ziggs ult was up and how far Kayle was away, so, and with my key bindings, what my key bindings are is, my trinket is on 5, and my ward is on 4, so like, I mean, I might have meant to use my trinket ward and just misclicked. I'm not sure, I don't remember, but, so that was a little bit of misplay, so, you know, always room to improve. So, I'm low health, I go back, and I get Merc Treads, and Warden's Mail. I think I already had Merc Treads. Okay, so, but anyway, so right now I have Elder Lizard, Merc Treads, Warden's Mail. So I have MR, I have Armor, I get a Ruby Crystal for some more effective health, because I can't afford a Giant Spell to go rush Randuin's, and I know that I want a Sightstone. So I go ahead and just grab that early Ruby Crystal. So, you'll notice that I'm 4-1 and 2, and even though I'm Lee Sin and I'm snowballing, I don't rush damage items, because I know, like I said earlier, they have a lot of wave clear. They're gonna stall the game out. If I go full damage and I can't tank like their harass while we siege towers, then we're not gonna be able to get towers, because I'm our main frontliner. Like, I saw J4 rush a Hydra. I know he's not gonna be tanky for any time soon, and I know he's not gonna be the one tanking harass while we do tower sieges. And tower sieges are a must in solo queue. You cannot win a solo queue game without tower sieging properly unless they surrender and they're demoralized and they give up. So I know that they're still fighting to try to stay in this game. Zed has 5 kills. No one else on their team has kills, but like, I know they're trying. With how they're playing, I can see that they're really trying to hold objectives and defend towers and stuff like that. They haven't given up yet. So I know that we're gonna have to tower siege. So I don't build damage, even though I'm 4-1 and 2. I start building tanky, because tank is really important. And most of the time, like, I've played Lee Sin jungle ever since he came out, and you snowball much more easily by rush. Like, if you get ahead and you get tanky early, you generally snowball harder than if you get damage early. Like, it's like, Elder Lizard's fine, and you can even like get a brutalizer for a little extra snowbally damage, or maybe like a team mat. But for the most part, like, using your early gold advantage to get like super tanky early makes the team, like, enemy team really demoralized, because they just can't kill you. So here, I do... Now, I'm Lee Sin, and I'm not a Feral Flare jungler, so this, like, I'm not demonstrating, like, the figure 8 clear for Feral Flare junglers. We'll probably go over that in the podcast next week, and I'll have Epicodin explain that, because he plays more Feral Flare junglers than I do. Trick 2G has explained it a lot on his stream as well. The figure 8 clear path is pretty much where you, rather than like always clearing the camp closest proximity to you, you can like do red and then like skip a camp so that you have something to loop back to, and it gives you more uptime on your clear rather than like clearing in everything in one direction, and then once you get done over here and you have white down, like nothing is up and you just have to be and then like back and like pour it and start back at golems and go back up, or start back at white and go back down. The figure 8 where you like you clear like every other camp on your way and then you loop back around, you can constantly keep clearing without ever having to back. So you would do that like after you have like Mad Stone, or which is Moderates plus Spirit Stone, which a lot of Feral Flare junglers go. They just sit on, they get the Moderates so that you don't lose the stacks when you upgrade, and then they get the Spirit Stone, and then they get Wriggles, and but we'll probably go over that in a future podcast. So I'm not gonna go into too much detail about that now. I just wanted to explain the concept because I had mentioned it. I didn't want you guys hearing me making some obscure reference and not understanding it. So here, hand over the blue to Anivia. It's Anivia and I'm Lee Sin, so I don't need the blue. She does need the blue. I'm not gonna be a jerk and take it. So here, I know I can make an impact on this. So rather than pushing, I start rotating. I thought Caitlyn was gonna get trapped in this area because she was gonna have to walk up this way for the wall, so I throw the Q that way, and then she Caliburnets over the wall, so I waste my Q, but no big deal. We still press into the fight. This is a really sloppy fight. It's hard for us to get anything. Caitlyn flashes away right before Lucian gets a kill on her. I get low health, so I try to bait Kayle back into my team that's all in this bush, even though it's warded, like she still is thirsty for the kill. I think we finally get... Okay, there's the first kill. Lucian just barely had enough mana for that. So we're really low health. But Anivia's fed, she's full health. So we're like, you know, maybe the bird can make some magic happen. So she gets tired of wasting time and she's like, this is taking forever for us to get kills. I'm just gonna flash in and take tower aggro. I'm actually really... Okay, so she did. So Caitlyn was being it, and then she's like, oh my gosh, low health Anivia. Now Anivia had egg, so even if she had landed that Piltover, she wouldn't have got the kill. And so her staying there got Lucian enough time to where Lucian got in and got the kill on her. Oh, I can't pause? What? Why can't I pause? That's awkward. Okay, so anywho. That's annoying. Alright, so right here, I'm really low health, but there's a couple things that happen that let me know I can make this play. So he misses pillar and stun on me, so I know he can't stun me. So I come in, and right here, I know he's gonna ult me, so I walk away from my team to make sure that that ult doesn't bounce between us. Because if that ult had bounced between us, I know I would have died. I would have procced Anivia's egg, and Bran might have survived damage long enough to get like a triple kill. That would have been terrible. So as soon as I jump in on him, I step up to make sure that I'm out of range of my teammates and like I can't bounce the ult to them. And then I go ahead and kick and finish him up. We were really low health. Normally you don't want to drag with everyone this low health because it's really dangerous, especially with the Ziggs, because he can throw ult and get like a quadra kill, but we had just killed Ziggs and Ziggs is still dead for like a couple more seconds. So now what should have happened here is like they're tanking dragon aggro, but because they didn't get in melee range, I couldn't help DPS dragon, because in order for me to DPS dragon, I would have had to tank aggro and I would have died to aggro. So like if you're gonna tank aggro, make sure you're close enough to like if you plan on taking aggro, if you know you have to take aggro, make sure you get close enough so that everyone who's low health can safely DPS the dragon or baron without like trying to help you damage it and then them dying because you're not close enough. That's really important. So we get the drag, which is good. I clear a little bit before I back for a couple reasons. One, I was really low health and I didn't want to like Ziggs to throw a random ulti while I was backing and get a kill on me. So I clear until I'm high enough health to like think that I'll survive the Ziggs ult, because I have Spell Vamp and Lifesteal from Iron Will and then the healing from the Spirit item. So, and here if Zed had Shadow over that wall, he would have killed me like probably for sure. Lulu was in range to where she probably could have got up and ulted me, so I might have lived. But luckily, he didn't shadow, he walked around, and I backed right before he got on me. That's always really important. If you're in backing, one, don't shop while you're backing, because you need to be aware of your surroundings. And two, understand how long backing takes. Like, even if someone shows up, and like, you want to keep your composure, you don't want to like immediately get terrified and move and cancel your B, because a lot of the time that someone shows up, you can finish your B and get away before they get on you. Even in competitive play, we see it a lot in the LCS, in EU and NA and OGN and stuff like that, where people, because even if they get damage on you, if the damage isn't big enough, it has to be a certain. I'm gonna rewind here because for some reason I can't pause right now, which is really annoying. But there has to be an X amount of damage in order to stop your B, and a lot of the time you can just get your B off. So make sure you don't flinch. Now, what I do right here, I know that we've got some early towers, and the tier 1 towers are down. So I buy a pink, and I'm looking to get fixed, because the easiest way, once you get tier 1 towers, it's really hard to keep pressing in unless you get picks. So I buy a pink ward, I come up here, I pink this bush. This is a really easy push to get picks in, because either A, mid will rotate the bot through here, or they'll come and ward here, which is what Ziggs is doing right now. You know, he knows that his towers are down, so he wants some defensive vision. So he walks up and wards here and realizes, oh no, they were lurking for me, they knew I was coming, and we get a free kill. So the best way to close out games is to, one, start snowballing the pressure, and then once you have the pressure rolling, set up picks, because they have a lot of wave clear, and it's really easy for them to stall out, especially with like these second tier towers are really hard for us to press in until all of the outer towers are down, because they're a really defensive team. They have Kale ult to protect picks, like most of them are pretty mobile. Ziggs, Brand, Kale have a lot of wave clear, Kate has good wave clear. So set up picks, and this is a good place to set up picks. This is a good place to set up picks. I mean, depending on what team you are, you know, obviously, this is speaking about from blue team, but, so right here, I actually make a really big misplay. I'm really worried about Anivia. Like, she hasn't died yet, and she has Soul Sinners, so I don't want her to lose stacks. I didn't realize she had egg here still, so I blow my flash right here to try to kill and finish Zed before Zed can pop her egg. Now, as soon as he sees me flash, he jumps back to his shadow that he had from his ulti. So and I'm like, oh, and I'm a Zed main, so like as soon as he did that, I was like, wow, I'm bad. Like, I should have known he was gonna do that. Now, luckily, I continue chasing here, because normally, you know, if I'm here and I've already blown flash and he shadows all the way back to here, you know, you'd be like, oh, okay, I can't catch him. Like, I'm not gonna catch him. But I knew that he had no boots, and I had speed 2 boots, so I have no reason not to keep chasing, because I know that I'm gonna catch him, and that he's low health, and Kale was just pushing, so I see where she is. Kate died, I know where their bot lane is, so I know it's safe, and I go in and finish the kill. So even though I made that misplay, I had the map awareness and the wherewithal to understand that I could still go for it. And I get the golems this time! I had missed counter jungling their golems the last time I was in this area, but I got it this time, so happy. And now on Jungle Lee, I max Tempest first. On top lane Lee Sin or mid Lee, I max Q first, because it gives you more 1v1 damage. But Tempest is AoE, and ranking it increases the slow and the attack speed debuff. So it's a stronger ganking tool, and it's a stronger clearing tool. So I rank that first on Jungle Lee. And I mean, some Jungle Lees still max Q first, because they're so like, oh, I need more damage because I'm a gank-oriented jungle, and it's like, damage is good, but when you know that you have enough damage to get a kill, it's important to get utility. So like, you only go for damage until you have enough damage as a bruiser, and then you switch to tank stats and utility stats and stuff like that. So, and at this point it doesn't really make a difference, because I almost have both of them max anyway. So I get my red. I don't go straight to blue, because my team is looking like, my team is really like, they grouped, and I don't want them to feel like they're wasting their time. So I come group with them, just to, you know, be like, hey guys, like, I'm here, you know, I'm here to group. And then Anivia actually solos be blue, because she had enough. Normally, like, your Anivia is gonna be like, almost by the time it's time for her to get blue, she'll be like out of mana, so she can't solo blue. And like, same with Swain. and a couple other like really blue dependent mids. Like if blue's not up and blue's like about to be up, like they won't have any mana to solo it by themselves. So it's really important that you like hand it to them. But there, Anivia had enough mana, so that was good. So I didn't have to come, and I got to stay mid and like keep my team morale up, saying like, oh look, people are grouping, yay, we're grouping, that's good. People aren't ignoring the group things. So right here, I see that my team's pushing in mid, and I see that Kate's off farming wolves, and Kate is a big part of their wave clear. So what I do is I go in and I make sure that Kate doesn't come in to defend, so that they lose out on some of their wave clear. So I force her to net over the wall, and I even ward jump right here to distract them. Like, me coming in right here makes Ziggs, Bran, and Kate all turn and focus me rather than focusing on defending. Now, unfortunately, like I said before, they have a lot of wave clear, so even though they all turned, like, Kayle and Zed still wave cleared the remaining minions and Ziggs had already minefield, so the minion wave was low and outnumbered. So that was unfortunate. So right here I come. It's really, I don't know why I can't pause for some reason. So right here I come in and defend J4 to make sure he gets that clean. I land a Q on a Kayle, and because of how Kate mispositions, I go to Kayle so I can kick Kate out. And that wall actually trolls us. I'm gonna rewind here and explain it a little more. But so unfortunately, you know, the wall was no bueno. But look at how Kate mispositioned. She sees that I land the Q onto Kayle, and she gets in front of the person that got landed Q on, so that's bad. So Kate gets away because of the Anivia wall and then the Kayle ulti. I get a Lulu ult, so I know I'm tanky. So what I do is I know that Zed initiated on my squishies. He initiated it on Jarvan and Lucian. So I try to keep the attention of the rest of their team over here, so that to try to convince them to stay on me, so that they can't capitalize on Zed making a good play. And then I back off, and I see that Anivia lands that stun, so I go in. If Anivia hadn't landed that stun, I wouldn't have went in on that Q because I was too low health. But because I saw that that stun was gonna land, I went ahead and went in. And then, so I live with really low health. There was a lot of times this game when I lived with really low health, and I had gone in with low health. And it's really important to know that even if you're low health, you can still make a difference in the play. Like, a lot of times this game, I've been low health and I've gone in, and it's paid off a lot. Now, unfortunately, right here, it doesn't pay off. I don't get in range of Kate in time to get the assist, and I died to Ziggs. I could have lived here, and I was planning on living. What I was doing is I Q'd, and I was gonna, when he threw Q, I was going to jump under it, and then jump to Anivia, so that I would dodge his damage. Unfortunately, as you can see the animation on Pool Party Ziggs, it's really hard to see the Q. So I didn't guess it properly. I misjudged. So if I had gone under the Q, landed on him, and then immediately jumped to Anivia, I probably would have lived. But regardless, I keep Ziggs. Ziggs was over here clearing mid. If I hadn't been low health and he hadn't been going for me, Anivia wouldn't have gotten that kill on him. They wouldn't have gotten the pick on Ziggs. So even though I died, I got a kill for Anivia and another assist for Lulu, and I got an assist. So even when you're low health, you can still make a difference. You can still make a play. And a lot of the time, you can live through it too, as long as you understand what you're doing and you calculate it properly. But, you know, if you misjudge it, then it can make you look really bad and you can die. But, like, this game, like, taking a risk is important in this game, because if you never take a risk, you'll never win and you'll never get better. Because you have to test the limits and see, like, you always want to test yourself. You always want to push yourself to the limit, find where your limits are on which champions with which builds. And because, like, me dying right there helps me understand, like, I mean, I already am familiar with how tanky and how much damage I do with this build, but, like, if this was a new build, it would help me learn, okay, so this is, like, I'm not quite tanky enough to make a play when I'm that low health before I finish my Banshees, something like that, right? So, like, you always want to push yourself and test yourself, so that you understand, like, it's important to know how much damage you deal, and it's important to know how much damage you can tank. Because you don't want to go in and not have enough damage to kill someone. Same concept. You don't want to go in and not have enough defensive stats to survive, or to stay alive long enough for your team to make a play. So we didn't quite get to Dragon in time here, which is unfortunate. But we're still 4,000, almost 5,000 gold ahead in the gold count. It's harder to judge in game how far ahead you are gold wise because you can't see it. I knew that we were ahead. And Anivia has she's got a 12 stack already on Soul Stealer. She gets a really good stun right there. We get a pick on their biggest wave clear champion, which is great. So I know that we can. And for some, this was pretty silly of me. I picked Brand and I went ahead and blew everything to get this pick onto Brand because I forgot he was support Brand because it's very rare to see support Brand. So I was like, oh, their strong mage is alone and I can get a pick and make a play and kill him and then we can push because Brand has really good wave clear too. So like this was me setting up a pick so that we could push more effectively. Now I forgot that he was support Brand and that he was 0-6 and now he's 0-7. So like that play wasn't really worth it in this scenario. I just miscalculated and misjudged. It's still a cute insect play though. You can watch it again. You guys want to watch it again? Let's watch. Okay, so Anivia gets the stun. We get one pick. Brand steps up right there, but I'm like, oh yes, look, I want to look fancy and do a flashy play. Flash behind him, dodge just so I can kick him out. Survive. I get the Lulu. Lulu didn't need to ult me there. She probably didn't realize I had flash. She probably thought I ward jumped to do the insect, and so I didn't have anything to get out with. But I was jumping out, and she ulted me, so she didn't need to ult, but she probably didn't know that. So we get the tower, and I go in. See how low health I was, and I still went in because I know that I can tank enough damage from them to allow my team extra time to safely focus Kale. So right here, we get the tower. J4 goes in on Kale. I don't want Zed and Kate to turn on him, so I go in to pull aggro. And they immediately start running because they're worried about me. Even though I don't have enough damage to kill them, they don't want me doing anything to cause them to die to my team. So they back off of Kale. Kale dies to my team, and without them defending her at all. And then Zed actually gets really greedy right here. He's trying to go in for the kill on me, and he had ult, but I don't know if Lulu polymorphed him or what. I don't know why he didn't ult me, but. So I lived. I got out clean, and me going in and getting low health even baited Zed back into me, and so my team got lots of kills off of me being low health and still trying to make a play. There we go. Alright, so now I have Spectral's Cal, I have Sightstone, I have I'm 7-11, and I'm pretty far ahead. Level 13. Kale has caught up in levels, so like I didn't maintain my level advantage. Right there, I went ahead and used ult because I knew Zed couldn't kill me. I knew he wasn't strong enough, and I could have lived without having to ult him. But I didn't want him to get enough damage on me to force me low health to where I would have to back rather than regroup with my team and force pressure. So like I didn't want us to have lapse in pressure, so I just went ahead and used my ult because I knew that by the time I won it, my ult's gonna be back up anyway, even if I had used it right there. So I just kick him away from me. I'm like, you know, go away. I don't care about you. And then I go get my red, and then I come group to my team. And because Zed had ulted me to go for the pick, he didn't have the ult for the fight here, so that was really good. J4 gets a double kill with the help of my team. I land the Q before she goes over the wall. I'm actually really surprised she got that Caliber Net off because she got polymorphed and like her Caliber Net animation still went off, so that was actually kind of interesting. But so I go in, I secure the kill. We got picked. We get the inhib tower. Yay, the inhib tower. Now we have an opening into their base, and we get the inhibitor. Now right here, with them having 3 people dead, I thought we could finish, so I kept pushing in. But Anivia went for the kill. J4 was back here doing nothing this entire time. Lucian used his ult instead of hitting towers, so there were a lot of factors that happened right here that caused us to not be able to end the game. I'll slow it down. So right here, Anivia is going for the pick onto Ziggs, which is kind of good because, you know, Ziggs has a lot of wave clear. He can stop us from going for it. She missed walls, not realizing he has splash up. Lucian, rather than hitting towers, goes for the ult. J4 has been back here this entire time, thinking that we're going to leave and that we're not trying to finish. So he's just doing nothing. He's just like, guys, I thought we were leaving. Where if he had been up here with me and with the rest of the team, and if Anivia once she got the flash, if Anivia had refocused to the tower and Lucian had gone for the tower rather than ulting, and J4 had been up here this whole time, and me and him and Lulu were hitting the spot tower, we would have at least got this one Nexus tower. Now right here, Zed comes in, and once I realized Zed's in, I'm like, oh, their death timers are up, we took too long, so I just immediately kicked him away so that we can retreat. Now my team, like, Anivia started coming back up, and J4 was still half health. If I hadn't kicked him away, my team might have tried to commit and get that kill. But I don't want them to do that, because I know that their death timers are done. Ziggs had got away, and he's healed back up, so he's back in. So, in order, because we don't have voice communication in this game. I can't tell my team we're leaving. I can back ping them, but not everyone pays attention to that. And I don't want to risk them having a delayed reaction and getting out too late. So what I do is I use my ability to hard telegraph what I want the team to do. As soon as Zed walks up, I don't even cue him before I kick him away. I immediately ult him away, and that hard telegraphs to my teammates that we're leaving. Like, we're done. I just kicked away him as soon as he walked in. Like, that is a hard telegraph saying, we're done, we're leaving, bye. Like, let's go, it's time to get out. So, and because and you can do this on a lot of characters. Anyone who has a really important teamfight ulti, if you use that ulti, like, before a teamfight happens, it discourages your team from wanting to teamfight, because they know, like, oh, we don't have one of our important cooldowns. So, and it, like, less so on Lee than on a couple other champions, but in general, you can do that, and right here I did that. I immediately put my ult on cooldown, and my team's like, oh, that discourages them from fighting. It telegraphs that I want to not fight, and that I want to leave, and that I want to disengage. So, like, we don't have voice communication. Typing takes a long time. Not everyone looks at pings, but there's a lot of ways to show your team what you want them to do and what you want to do. Now right here, I stopped my back because I thought my safeguard would be enough to keep Anivia from getting egged, but it wasn't quite. So I should have just backed, but so my back is a little delayed there, but that's okay. You know, because me showing that I wanted to help Anivia kept his morale up as well, and it made him, I guess, feel a little safe so that he didn't panic, because he knew that they'd stop chasing when I showed, even if he was gonna get egged. So, like, it's important to, like, even if you can't always make an impact, it's important to show your teammates that, like, you care about them surviving and their positioning and stuff like that. Like, you want to look like you're protecting them, because if they see that you're making an effort to protect them, even if you, like, doesn't really do anything, like how I did right there, it's still, you know, it makes your teammates happy, and keeping your teammates happy is important. So, now we come up, we clear vision there. I set up a pink there. I set up another ward there. We already have a ward there. That's Baron vision control. This is vision control. We didn't clear the pit because I didn't use my sweeper, because J4, like, I didn't waste time clearing pit vision because J4 had already been distracting him. J4 got a kill and was getting chased, and he actually should have led them to us. So right there, that was really bad. You don't want to lead the enemies to the objective. Like he baited them to us. He was trying to bait them to us, which was really silly. And then he blew flash lance and still got caught. And as soon as my team sees him here, they all stop aggroing Baron and go to try to help him. And we take a lot longer to finish Baron than we should have. We could have finished that Baron like 5-7 seconds ago if my team had stayed on there, and J4 bringing them to us kind of risked it getting stolen. But luckily, you know, like, I'm leads in with a level advantage on their jungler. Like, I'm not gonna let Baron go down to some Zed trying to cheeky shadow over it. So.
Double kill.
So, I mean, so J4 made another misplay right there, but it's no big deal. We still got the Baron, and because I guess because J4 baited them to us, like, I didn't want him to do that, but because he did, we still managed to salvage. We made plays to get picks because they came in to try to steal, because once J4 brought them to us, they realized we were Baroning, so they were like, oh, let's try to steal. They stuck around. We ended up killing like 3 of them because of it. So even if your teammates do something stupid, you can still salvage it. There's still something that you can always do to make it a little better. So now I have my Banshees now, so I'm super strong. I got another chain vest. I was probably gonna end the game with like Sunfire Thornmail, so that Cade and Zed really couldn't do anything to me. I might have gone Sunfire, Maul, and Malmortius just because they had like triple AP and Brand has a lot of AP, but Brand didn't, I guess he was going for Rylai's first, which is incredibly silly. For a support AP, whenever you play AP support, you generally want to rush like Athene's or like some CDR mana item, maybe Morello's, something that's like cost efficient and gives you a lot of damage per gold, or a lot of utility. So I come in, make sure I try to save Lucian. Now, as soon as I saw Zed go in, I knew I couldn't save Lucian from Zed. So I just keep pressing in, and I get the double kill, and then turn back after I clean that up. Like, Lucian was dead. Even if I had turned right there, Lucian was gonna die. There's nothing I could have done about that. So, and right here, I know I can't 1v2 them. They know I can't 1v2 them, but I still go in and press this because I know that Anivia's on her way to rotate, and I'm trying to stall for Lulu to come back up as well. So I even flash right here to get like the Tempest random slow delay, and because I want to convince them to fight me. Because me convincing them to fight me right here, it means they're not running away, and it means that Nivea can cut in this way and pick up a kill. Whereas if I hadn't been chasing them, they would have already been back to like their inhibitor by now, we wouldn't have gotten anything. So I knew that even though I couldn't kill them, I knew they couldn't kill me either because I was so tanky. So I still went in, I baited them into staying, and now Ziggs, like Zed realized what was happening, he's like, oh, he's baiting, I need to bail, and then Ziggs isn't as mobile and he can't get out. He even blows flash and like, and Nivea still makes it here in time, gets a good wall, and I think I hand the kill over. Yeah. Oh no, I actually got it. I think Elder Lizard burned. I tried to stop attacking and moved. Clicked to move away from him, but Elder Lizard burn was too strong. So even though I knew I couldn't kill them, I still, like, even if you can't kill something, you can still make a play as long as you understand where your teammates are and where your teammates are rotating to. Like, delaying people from doing what they plan on doing and stalling them out and baiting them is so important in this game. I think we actually end the game right here because we keep getting picks. Because Anivia's so strong. Anivia's 15-0-12, she's 20 stacked soul stealers, she's huge, like, this Anivia is massive. And I thought that we were actually, I was like, oh dang, we're not going to be able to finish. Because Anivia backs right here, and I'm like, aw. But she's not backing up, but she's about to back. But then she teleports back in, and I'm like, oh, cool. Just kidding, like that was a good thing for you to do. So we come in, I heal back up, because I had taken some damage, so I heal back up with the Spirit, and because we all telegraphed and looked like we left, but we were just in their jungle, Zed had gone bot to farm, and now he gets caught because he's like, oh, I don't know why they're still here, I thought they beat, they already got the inhibitor, like they had nothing else to get, that's unfortunate, like he's probably super salty. But we stuck around and they didn't have good vision, so he got caught. So here, I wanted to focus the tower, but I saw my teammates focusing Brand. We got the kill ult, and so I just wanted to help them. Because you don't want to look like you're not helping your teammates, because then they'll get mad, and you don't want teammates to get mad at you. That's like the worst. So we got the kill, we got the tower. I come in, tank one hit, and me tanking a hit makes Caitlyn not realize that the wave is already there, so she thinks she has time to step up and like set up wave clear, and it gets her caught. And right now, like, J4 and I, our job is to zone while the rest of our teammates get the inhibitor. Now, Anivia back there, I was like, oh my god, why'd you back, right? So I was like, oh, but then she teleports back in, I'm like, oh, okay, everything's fine. And she went and got Warmog, so I'm like, okay, that works for me. She looks like she's tankier than me at this point, you know? So here, this is really bad, on my team's part. J4 goes in, and everyone stops hitting the tower. Like, J4 going into zone was fine, but Lucian should have been hitting the tower. He instead stepped over to Culling. Me and Lulu were worried about Jarvan, so we came in rather than hitting the tower. And Anivia, instead of using Lichbane procs onto the tower and using her ult to wave clear, was like, oh yeah, you know, because she's obviously bloodthirsty. She likes getting kills, so she's over here. We're killing them. We're wasting time. We're not killing this. Now, luckily, we do end the game here, just because we're so far ahead that we're super strong and we can afford to do things like this. But it's a really bad habit. Like, you don't want to practice this bad habit, because if we weren't so far ahead, this would correlate to us throwing the game in a slightly different scenario. So, I realized what's happening. I'm like, okay, we need to get these Nexus towers. So I start ignoring my teammates. I come back here. I focus on killing the Nexus towers. So there were a lot of things that could have been done differently in there. J4 didn't have to go so hard, or even if he did go that hard and zoned, everyone else should have been focusing towers. Because like once you get the 2 Nexus towers, then you can start messing around and going for kills and denying them and like poking them on the platform. But as long as these Nexus towers are alive, you risk taking like thousands of damage onto your team via Nexus towers when you pull aggro. So like that's really dangerous and it's a bad habit. So like always focus Nexus towers first, and then you can press in and like zone and go for kills to set up picks so that you can finish the game safely and kill the Nexus. But like it's a really bad habit. So but anywho, so like now that I've got these 2 Nexus towers and we have like 3 waves of supers and I'm with like 4 of them are dead, I'm like, okay, I know the game's over now. We've finished the game, so now we can just harass Brandon, be jerks and blah blah blah. So, but anyway, so we just end the game here. So, and notice Anivia, 19016, and I thought she was gonna troll AFK and rage because she blind picked Anivia and like was being pretty not like violent or rude in chat, but she appeared short-tempered, right? And like I could tell that this, like if Anivia had started 0-3 instead of 3-0, she might have AFK'd, she might have raged, like she could have stopped trying to work as a team. She might have made life really difficult. And a lot of the time, the only difference between someone who will troll and like make you lose the game and someone who will carry you straight to victory is just like how much effort you put into keeping them alive, snowballing them early, making them happy. Like the community is toxic. That's a fact of life. Like because we don't have voice chat is a big reason why it's toxic. But I mean that's a separate discussion. So like it's just a very thin line between someone who can win you the game and someone who can lose you the game. Like so if you recognize that a player might possibly be toxic, like rather than just like immediately muting them and like raging back at them, like help them, like try to make them happy, because a lot of the time those players, especially like my elo, most of the people who like are rage AFKers are people who were diamond last season and got like unlucky in their placements and now they're in like plat and they're pissed because they can't get back into diamond because plat kids throw games all day long. So like if the game starts poorly, a lot of people who were diamond and are plat now like will rage, and like so I've recognized that pattern. And I saw that Anivia might possibly be one of those people. Maybe Jarvan too, because Jarvan was diamond last season as well. So like, I wanted to make sure that I paid extra attention and like snowballing them and making them happy. I couldn't do it for Jarvan because he was just so, I don't want to say anything insulting, but like he got in that 1v1 fight to Zed and died to first blood before either jungler made it to they were top. And like I told him, I was like, I'm doing red, blue coming top. Like, I tried to tell him, like, just wait till I get there, bait a fight and I'll come in and counter gank or I'll gank and I'll be stronger than a Carol jungle will be early anyway. So, like, but I couldn't get him to listen to me. I couldn't get him to guard my jungle early. I couldn't get him to wait for me to come up there. I couldn't get him to build tanky. He went Hydra, BT, Last Whisper. I couldn't get him to focus Nexus towers. I couldn't get him to end the game the first time we were in the space and he was standing back here doing nothing. Like, he was kind of difficult, and so J4 was a difficult person to deal with, and Anivia might have turned out to be a rager. So like, going into this game, I recognized these facts, and I played accordingly and tried to accommodate them. And now, we have a 20-stack Soul Stealer 19016 Anivia, who's smashed and pretty much carried us to victory. And like, Jarvan still made things pretty difficult, but like, he didn't rage, he didn't AFK, so that's good. And like, he went 8-7-13. He didn't do terrible. Like, he was doing bad at first, but he caught back up because the rest of the team got so far ahead, and because we were setting up picks and stuff like that, and I got him a lot of kills. So he got happy. And Lucian, remember, was getting smashed early game in farm. He was under half. Like, Caitlyn was tripling his farm early. So like, and as soon as we broke them out of bot lane, he started doing great. He ended 8-2-14 Caitlyn, ended 0-10-1. So like, just because your players are losing laning phase doesn't mean they're bad players. It doesn't mean that you're going to lose the game. You have to like accommodate and break them out of laning phase, recognize like where their strengths and weaknesses are, and like get them to use their strengths. So like I saw that like Lulu is going to be a lot better in skirmishes than Kate and Brand. Kate Brand is just a cheesy poke lane that pushes really hard. So like they're gonna deny my ADC farm, so I expected him to be behind in farm. I didn't expect him to be that behind in farm, but you know that's okay. So I broke them out of laning phase. Lucian started getting rolling. This Lulu 4/26, she did great. Anivia did great. I paid a lot of attention early, blowing flashes, ganking Ziggs early, putting pressure on him early to make sure that she snowballed, and it paid off. I mean, I got pretty far ahead too. A lot of that was thanks to Kale derping and walking into my jungle, so you know that was good. But even if she hadn't done that, I mean, I wouldn't have hit 6 as early. I wouldn't have got the refresh on my double buffs, but I still would have had the same mentality and the same like routing and pathing and pressure meta, to where we would have still won this game. So that's just jungle commentary. I'll probably gonna do a couple more of these videos and upload a couple more highlights today. But I wanted to give you guys some content before we get to the... Like I said, tune into the podcast, Epkiden and I will do. We do it every Friday night, right before draft night starts, so around 8:30 Eastern is normally when we start. This next week we'll probably do jungle commentary. He'll go into more detail about... because Feral Flare got nerfed, but there's still a couple people who can use it successfully, so he'll go over like the figure 8 jungling path. We'll go over the current jungle meta, who's strong, what the best champs are, who beats who, like jungle matchup wise, how you can apply pressure early, pathing, routing, ganking, like pressure meta, when like to do drag, stuff like that. So we'll go into a lot further detail in the actual podcast. I just wanted to give you guys some commentary until then. And then, of course, you know, you can always come back and reference this video for later too if you just need general jungle advice. This is the first commentary video I did, so you know, if this goes well and people like it, then I'll do more. So thanks for tuning in.